when it has to do with data analysis, the types of data types that we're type of data models that we are talking about here are just two. You can classify it as three if you so want to, but the very types of data models here that we are talking about are just two: structured data and unstructured data. Now, there is also what is called semi-structured data. Now, what is structured data? Structured data is a data that is well formatted. I want all of you to listen to this. Structured data is a data that is well formatted. It has all the data types and it has no missing values. Now, they are quantifiable. Now, what I mean by quantifiable are they are numeric. Now, let me open this. Let me open this so that it will not be theoretical. Theoretical. When we're talking about structured data, when we're talking about structured data, we're talking about a data that is well organized. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, yeah.
So if you look at my screen at this moment, you see that I have a data on my screen. I have an Excel file that is being opened. If you look at this data on the screen, this data is actually a semi-structured data. Why am I saying it's semi-structured? Because if you see the data, there are gaps, there are blank spaces. There are blank spaces in between this data. Look at these places I'm highlighting. They are all blank. So if you see this, it's also blank. So all the spaces that you are seeing, they are empty. So this is a semi-structured data. Why is it semi-structured? Because it has a little meaning. Now, if you look at this column here, the one that I've highlighted, you see that there are values, there are texts written. But in between the text, you are going to see that there are spaces. If you look here, there is a space here. Please, if you cannot see my screen very well, please let me know. Okay? If you cannot see my screen very well, let me know. I'm not going to rush this class. I'm going to make it very, very practical. So if you see in between, if you see this row here, you're going to see that there is a space in between here, in between this very data, this word, this text. And then all of these things here makes this data semi-structured because it is not well organized. Now, this is when you have a data like this that is not well organized, it is called a semi-structured data because it still makes a little meaning. But when you go forward and you have a data such as this, you can still say this data is semi-structured. Who is this? Who is this? You can still say that this data here, it is still uh, semi-structured because it has blanks and it is partially making meaning. Now, I want to show you the kind of data that is called a very, very a very, very dirty data. Now, stay with me. Let me quickly get you a data set that is very, very dirty. All right, stay with me. Now, look at this data. This data, when you see a type of data like this, look at this column that I've highlighted. If you see a data that has such a column like this, if you see, you can see there are numbers here, there are texts, everything is combined here. So when you see a data that has a lot of inconsistency like this, there are letters, there are words, there are numbers, and all of this. When you see a data that is combined like this, and some you might even see asterisks. Let me see. Okay, yes, you can see that there is a star here. You can see there is a star here. There are stars. So some other ones you are going to see asterisks combined. So when you see a data that is like this, you can say this data is very, very dirty. So when you have a data that is as this dirty, you call it an unstructured data. You call it unstructured data. But when you have a data that is clean, I'm going to still open that quickly. I'm going to show you all of this. Have a data that is very, very consistent. There are no blanks, there are no spaces, everything is intact. You call such a data a very clean data. So now I want you to be able to distinguish data that is clean and data that is dirty. So When you see this data, the one that is inconsistent, the one that has numbers, has values, has text, has numbers all combined, they are called dirty data. So a data that is this dirty can be said to be an unstructured data because it has no format. It has no formatting. So this data is called a very dirty data. Now, when you see a data that is like this, it makes little meaning. It makes little meaning, but there are blanks in between, and there are some values that are missing, but it has little meaning. It is called a semi-structured data. Now, the kind of data that is called a very structured data is data that the values are not missing. All right, the values are not missing. It does not have blank spaces. Everything is formatted and it makes very good meaning. Such, please, can you see my screen now? Can anyone see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Yes, sir.
And asterisks. So this kind of data, you cannot work with this data because it is very dirty. If you work with such a data, it's going to give you a result that is not going to be accurate. Your whole working and everything that you're doing will be full of errors. So you don't work on dirty data like this. And I'm trying to categorize this and tell you that a data that is as this very dirty and has no format is called an unstructured data. All right, it is called an unstructured data because it has no meaning, and it's called clean data. Now, you need to understand that when you're working on data and it is clean, you are going to have a very good result at the end of your analysis. But when your data is very dirty, it needs cleaning. And if you don't clean that data, you go ahead to use that data, you import it into your Excel file or you import it into your SQL, you use it, you are going to have you use it and run your analysis, you're going to have errors. Now, these are the key things that you need to consider before you start your analysis. All right, use. So this is the first thing that we're going to do with this data this night. Now we are going to first of all look at it very well. You need to observe your data from the beginning to the end and see that there are no errors. But as we can see, this data is dirty. If you look at this column right here, the way it's being presented, you see that the column under the columns, some of the texts, some of the names that are written in small letters, while some of them are written in capital letters, and some of them are mixed with capital and small, and all of them there are inconsistencies. So the first thing that we are going to do with this data is for us to remove the blanks. Okay, we are going to remove the blanks. How do you remove blanks? First of all, highlight your data, that is Control A, or just go to the top left here, highlight everything, and then go to find. You go to find, and then you go to special. All right, you go to special. Now when you go to special, you are going to see all of this here. You can see that everything that is here, it has comments, constants, blanks, current region, and everything. Your aim is to remove blanks, so you go to blanks and click on OK. Once you click on OK, it's going to highlight all the blanks that are present in this data. So what do? You delete the blanks. You delete the blanks, select the blanks, and click on delete. Now it's going to show you how are you going to delete this thing. Cells, okay, but these are rows. Now when you have your spreadsheet, from the left to the right, it's called rows. From the top to the bottom, they are called columns. So now we are going to delete entire rows, and you select them and you click on delete. Now you can see that all the rows that were empty are being deleted. So if you can see now, we don't have blanks in our data. We don't have blanks in our data anymore. Now, how do you go about doing all of this? If you see the numbers are inconsistent. Look at the serial numbers. They are inconsistent. That is, they are not well arranged. So what are we going to do? We are going to undo this to make sure that we remove only those columns that have the blanks. You can go ahead and delete them one after the other. You can delete that one after the other. Now, if you know very well that your data is so much that you cannot do this singly, you do the first thing you follow the first step I showed you. Okay, so when you're done deleting this, you see that our data now does not have any blank. Apart from that, we are going to still check if there are blanks. So go ahead and select everything, go to find, go to special, and then look for blanks. All right, click on it. Okay, and then you see that there is a blank right here. Okay, so what do you do? How do you take this blank away? Click on the row by your left and click on delete. That row is gone, and then we have our data. Now we are going to format this data such that we want to take only the rows that are not important. So if you see the serial numbers here, we have our serial number. The serial number is counting from 1 to 45. So it means that this serial number that we have on this column A, which starts from 0 to 44, is not important since we have serial number 1 to 45. All right, so the column that is not important, we're going to highlight it and then right click and click on delete to take away the column, because we are not going to be needing it in this data. All right, so we are taking down that column. Now, how do we go ahead with the cleaning? Now, if you want to fit your data into this text very well, instead of dragging it one after the other, all you need to do is highlight your data or click on Ctrl A and click on alternate HOI. All right, once you click on alternate HOI, the three of them at once, you are going to have your data fitted into these parts very well. So if you can see now, all the rows and the columns are fitted. I don't need to be dragging them one after the other. I don't need to hold it here and drag it to the left or drag it to the right. All right, because I have used my command and the command is working. I'm going to write down here. I said you are going to click on alternate. You are going to click on alternate plus, oh, sorry, you are going to click on alternate. You are going to click on H, O, and I at once. So once you click this shortcut, the data is going to be formatted into this. It's going to fit into these rows and columns very well without you dragging each one after the other. So that's how you need to clean your adjust your data to fit very well into your into the rows and the columns. So after doing that, the next thing we are going to do with this data, we are going to try to format this particular row. If you look at this very row of the president, you are going to see that this president row, the names have they are made of capital letters and small letters. All right, so we need to format it in a proper manner. So how do we do that? You are going to right click, or you are going to click on the column and then click on insert. So once you click on insert, there is a column here. Now what are we going to do with this column? Instead of fixing this column on the left, let's rather fix this column on the right. Okay, let's fix this column on the right. So we're clicking on C and then we're inserting a column on the right. Our aim here is for us to properly clean this president row, president column, and give it a proper formatting. So how do we do that? Use the function and then click your on equal to. There's a function that you can also use to make that, because we want to format it properly. Okay, so we're using proper. Now why are we using proper? Proper now will not help us to give this data. Okay, so if we click on proper and then press on George Washington and close that bracket, let's close the bracket and click on enter, you are going to see now that George Washington is actually in the it's following the proper rule. Okay, now this proper is a function. It's a function that you use in arranging, or you use in trimming down your how should I put this thing? Let me not use English now. This proper, you go use this proper now. English shadow. You go use this proper now to give the president column a good case. All right, you are going to give it a good sentence case so that the rest of the column will follow up. So instead of you doing this proper again for each one of the rows down to the bottom, it will take you long time if the data is long. So what do you need to do? Highlight on the proper, and at the right here, double click. Once you double click on where this cross is, double click, and you see that everything will flow down to the bottom. All right, so when you do that, you're going to see that everything will flow to the bottom. Now see, if you look at james james Mon- james monroe James Monroe was in capital letter, but is now formatted into small sentence case in a very good way that it is following the proper formation. You cannot see any capital letter blocked or capital words that are being followed in this column again. If you can see that very well, it's really, 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 really bad. It's really, really, really bad. And I don't want to postpone this class. I want us to finish this class today. I don't want us to postpone this class. I don't want us to postpone the class. But well, the video is going to be there for you as a recording, so you can watch it, and then if you have any problem, you are still going to bring it to the class. Every step that I'm doing here, you have to do it. So I'm going to take this again. Who was complaining? Raise your hand again. Raise your hand up. Let me see, and I'm going to take that again. Okay, Timothy. All right. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. I'm going to delete this, and then I'm going to start all over again. I said, because we want this president column to be in a very good format. Okay, we want it to follow a format so that these capital letters that are involved, if you see John Tyler, it is spelled in all small letters. If you see James Monroe, the letters are blocked. And then if you see, there is no arrangement, there is no proper formatting. Okay, and I said for you to clean your data, you need to make sure that the data, it is in a very good format, a very good presentable manner. So if you want to remove this James Monroe, instead of you to come back here and clean it and then start typing it one after the another James Monroe like this, if the data is like 20,000, it's going to take you time to do that. So you don't need to do that. Okay, the only thing you can do is for you to insert a new column and then use the proper function. I'm going to teach you functions. I'm going to teach you functions in this class, all the functions that are vital for you to use as a data analyst. I'm going to teach you all those functions. That is why I didn't mention it. But for you to clean, this one is just for the purpose of you to clean your data. I said you can go ahead and insert a column. Once you insert a column, go to that row that the number, the text is, and click on your equal to. Now you are making reference on James Monroe, on George Washington's, because you want to format it. Type in your proper. Okay, proper is a function. Now what does proper do? Proper now will now change all of this text, the names on this president column, into a very, very arranged sentence case. There's going to be no capital letters, there are going to be no small letters anymore. Everything here will be formatted into a very well presented manner. So what am I saying? Once you click on proper, reference it back to column B2, which is where that is the column you want you to change. Now once you click on your B2, close it with your bracket, and then click on your enter key. You are now going to see that George Washington follow the proper command. Now what do you do for the rest of them? Instead of you to go back to the second line and also type equal to and start typing proper again, to do this each for every one of them on this column, this will take you a lot of time, right? So you don't need to do all of this for all of them because it's going to take you a lot of time. So you don't need that. Once you do for the first one, all you need to do is go to the right bottom where there is a cross, there is a point. Put your cursor there and double click. It will save you time. Once you double click, you see that the format will follow all of that column to the bottom, and then you're going to see that even the James Monroe that was showing block, it is now in small letters in a sentence case. Even the James Tyler that was in small letters, it is now formatted to sentence case. Now this is how you format it. All right, now we are doing data cleaning. You can now go ahead and copy the president and bring back to this column. Now this makes this column B useless, but you cannot go ahead and delete it at once. So we are going to keep this one and go to the next step. When we are done with formatting all this, we are now going to come back to the president column and then take it down, because we don't want them to be here as duplicates. So we are going to the next column to check whether that column is important or we'll be needing it for our analysis. So if you look at the prior column, which is column D, it is actually dirty. Please, can somebody tell me how this data is dirty? Sarah, are you there? Is Sarah there? David, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, Sarah, I want you to show me this column D. What makes this column D dirty? How is it dirty?
It is not well organized. There are positions, first, second, third. They're in bracket as well. There are asterisks, there are pound signs and wholesale.
Very good. So this column is actually dirty because if you see, it has asterisks, it has numbers, it is formatted and all that. So it is a dirty column. So for us to go ahead and use this data, we need to first of all start cleaning this one after the other. We need to start cleaning all this part that is not useful. But then when your data lead or team lead has given you data to work with, you need to understand that data. It's not everything that you need to clean up. All right. But in this regard, this column, which is prior, it looks like address, and at the same time, it looks like postal code. But we will not be needing this column. Okay. So when you are analyzing your data, you go with the columns and all those ones that you think that they are necessary for you to use. Please, our time is about 15 minutes to go. So when it is 5 minutes to go, let me know so that I can create another link for the class and continue. So if you see this column, we are not necessarily going to need this column, all right, because we are not going to use it. So what do? We are going to highlight on this column and we are going to delete it. So we have deleted that column. Now look at this column D again, which is the party column. It has shown us different categories we need to observe. We need to observe this column very, 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 very keen. Now, how do I mean? Go through the column and see. We have the party type, we have non-partisan, we have federalist, we have democratic, republican. This is America, of course. They are the ones that have republicans and democrats. So I know that this can be used as a category because there are like three. We have democrats, we have Whig, and then we have Whig April 14. I know this is an error too. So good. Now these are the things that you observe when you go through your data. Now I know that this is an error from the person that typed. So you can go ahead and format this one by just deleting this part. Okay, you can go ahead and delete that part that shows the date and leave it with Whig. We have Democrat again, we have Republican, we have Democrat, and we have Republicans. So for better understanding of the data, let's go ahead and filter this data and see. Let's go ahead and filter this data and see what is there. Now look at how I filtered my data. I'm going to take that step again for you people. First of all, you do your Control A, or you go to the top left and click there and everything will select. Now because I am trying to look at the categories that are under column D, which is party, I don't understand every one of them, so I want to see if there is anything for me to clean here and if there is any party that is not right for me here to use. So I will go ahead and click at the top right and top left and select everything, and I will go to filter and click on filter. Now what does filter do? We still have 12 minutes. What does filter do? What does filter do? Filter will now help me to see the different types of party types according to the categories. I hope you know what category is. Boys, categorize girls and put them one side. Categorize girls and put them on one side. So we are trying to filter this thing so that we know the different parties that are here. So if I click on filter here, I'm going to see that we have Democrats. Please, if you don't see my screen at this point, tell me. Oh, I want everybody to see this step. I want everybody to see this step. If you can see, we have we are going to filter the party category, and you're going to see that we have Democrats,
Hello, sir.
we
Sorry for
have
cutting you short,
Democratic
but I continue.
Republican, we have Democratic, we have non-partisan, we have Republicans, and we have Republicans. I want you all to see this. We have Republicans and we have Republican. So this should be a typographical error. So we are going back to go and change this to Republican, because I guess this is an error. So we are going to go back to our data. Now that we are seeing that there's something different as Republicans, we're going to clean back that S, because if we don't clean that, when we categorize our data, it's going to give us the party for Republican, and it's going to still give us a different category that is going to show Republicans. So we don't need that, because we know it's a typo error. So if you are noticing the steps that we're taking here, we're trying to clean this data first so that it can fit the condition that we can be able to use for our further analysis, which is very, very important. Now we are done with this category, this column. What else do we need to do? We are going to the next column, which is column E, which is vice. Now I am going to, we have 10 minutes. I'll use 5 minutes. Please, when it is 5 minutes, please remind me so that I am not taking away. Sorry, unaware. So Timothy, is Timothy there? Is
Yes, I'm
Timothy
here,
there?
sir.
Timothy, I want you to tell me what we are supposed to do with this column E. Can anybody tell me? We want to clean column E, because if you see column E is not clean too. The names are unarranged. The names are unarranged. You can see where David Millard Fillmore is. You can see where David Aaron Ball is, and you can see Calhoun. All of these names, you see, all of them no they arranged. So how we go
Okay,
take
I
arrange this data
just
now? How are we going to clean that column?
use the alignment.
Eh? We are going to align it. Unmute yourself and talk. Unmute yourself and talk. What are we going to do? Can anybody help us with that column?
I am.
Look at it.
Hello,
What are we going to do with it?
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, so we are going to repeat what we did for column B.
Okay. We are going to use
Yes.
the same step. Okay, we are going to use proper. We are going to trim it up, and we are going to use proper to arrange
Yes,
it.
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So how can we do that? How can we do that? Can somebody help me?
Then we click on the column.
Okay. I hope all of you are following. Yes, I've clicked on the column.
All right, we need to create insert.
Okay, we need to insert. That's good.
Yes.
All right. So if I insert here, it is going to go on my left. Did you see that?
All right. Yes,
So
sir.
we are going to do that on the right. We are going to put it here. It does not mean actually, okay? It does not mean. We can do it from
Okay,
any
sir.
corner. We can do it either, we can insert either on the left or on the right, okay? But it's better that when you are referencing, make your references on the left. So we are going to click on column F and insert a column that will fall on the right, and then we are going to still do what?
Use the Excel format.
Excel format, okay? And then we are going to use proper again, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then we're referencing John Adams.
John
Then we're
Adams.
closing, yes, John Adams, and we're closing that. And then we see that John Adams now is well formatted. Yes. So that is it. Uh, David, did you see that even at that there are still those spaces? Did you see that?
Yes, sir. I can see it.
Please, did
Yes, sir.
are all of you seeing that there are still those spaces? Austin, Sarah, did are all of you seeing that there are still spaces here? Is there any change?
No.
Please, so I want make una dey talk for this class. So this class, if it is not coming, if you are not talking, it will not make any sense. I want to know whether you're understanding it. I
Yes, sir.
cannot teach myself.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello, can anyone hear me?
yes, I
Okay.
can hear you.
So I'm actually having it. Yeah, so it's my network. I can't really, I'm not really following every step you are doing because my network is kind of bad due to cold weather, rain, and all like that. But let's try using, I don't know, just as I mentioned.
Okay, we have tried using the same method that we used the first time, but it did not work. Now, this is the trick. This is the second trick. Thank you all for your efforts. This is the second trick. Now, when you are cleaning data, since we have used this and it did not work, there is another format that we are going to use. Okay, remember we have used proper, and proper helps us to get all our words, all our columns arranged in a sentence case. Sentence case means it will, the first letter will start with capital, and then the second following one will start with capital. Then we're going to use another function which is called trim. All right, we're going to use trim. Now let's look at what trim is going to do for us. This is good. Now, I want all of you to pay attention. Oh. Now look at what we're going to do. We're going to use a function that is called trim. Now look at it. If you look at what is here, all of you look at it. If you look at your left, you are going to see that there is something written. Trim removes all spaces from a text string except for single space between words. So we are going to use trim to remove all these spaces. All these spaces. We are going to use trim to remove them. So when you use trim, refer to it and still close your bracket and click on enter. Now when you click on enter, go ahead and double tap. Can you see now that all the spaces are gone?
Yes,
Can all
sir.
of you see?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, so all the spaces are gone. So you see that the Millard Fillmore that had the space at the beginning, instead of you to double click here and start tapping like this, no, it will take you time when you have like thousands of data to work on. So you just use your trim. Trim now will just remove all the spaces and make it well arranged. All right, so that is it. And then you go ahead again and write your vice. All right, so I said for you to go ahead, you remember when the class ended, it ended when we were trying to remove the salary values here. Okay, so I was saying that when you see there are values, if you remember initially these values here were having dollars, right? They were having dollars, not pounds. They were having dollars like this. So I was saying that for you to query this data, when you load this data into your SQL or even into your into your Excel Power Query, I'm going to show you there are two ways of cleaning this data. This is just the first one. The second one is through the Power Query method. I will show you people and you will enjoy it because that one is more simple. So if you put these values into your data and it has dollar sign, it is going to affect you. Okay, it's going to affect you in the sense that the result might not be actually accurate because this dollar will be affecting the result, the software to return values for you. So what do? Highlight that column, go to text, go, let me see if you are following me. Let me see if you are following me. Sarah, can you see my screen? Shegun, Timothy, can you see my
Yes, sir.
screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Timothy, are you there?
Yes, sir. I can see your screen.
All right. So I said for you to remove this dollar sign, you need to go to your text, go to your home and text. Instead of it to be on text, change it to what? Number. Once you change it to number, we all know that this is 5,000, this is 10,000. It is better like this to leave your data. So we are done with this column. The next thing we need to do is for us to go straight to the next column and see if there is any change. How do you know? See, if this data is about 10,000 lines, for me to scroll down to the bottom, it will take me time. Let me show you a shortcut. Just go and click on your filter. Put a filter button there and click on this. See, if you go now, you are going to see there's 2021. Then there's another value that shows July 14. Then you know that all these things are inconsistencies. Okay? So once you see something like this, it is not 2021 to the end or July to the end or 14 to the end. You know that this data is not straight. So you go back and do what? Remove your filter, set the data to the end. Once you set, you are going to see that at the top end, you are going to see that this column H and column I, they have the same data uh, format. Can you see? It's showing 14th July and February 1st, 2020. But you see from here to the top, the format is different. So this is not a good data for you. You need to also clean this part. My dear, how do you go ahead with that? So if you want to do this thing now, go back to the top, click on column H, hold your shift key on your system, and then click to select the two of them. Once you select, go to what? General, and what? Click on date. Now see, if you see short date, long date, click on what? Short date. Short date is the one that is showing 14. So if you go to the bottom, you are going to see that what? The date has been changed. Okay, it is now the same. Or go back and click on long date. If you click on long date, can you see that this format is different? It's 14 July, 14 July, but it is all the same. You see that all of them are the same. Are you people seeing my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you see that it is aligned. There is no
Yes,
difference.
sir.
So it's either you choose one. Don't let two data formats to be there. It's either you choose short date so that it will align to the bottom, or you choose long date. The most important thing here is for it to be what? All aligned. There should be no differences. There should be one date format. So it means that at this point we have cleared our date formatting, which is now the same. It is now the same. So what do you do again? We have a column here that is email. Please, who is here to answer this question for me? Timothy, what do we do with this column? This column that has no values, it is showing null. What do we do with it? Should we remove it or replace it with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? What do we do with it?
You should remove it, sir.
Okay, we are going to remove it. How about this column that shows contact and there is nothing on it? We are still going to remove it, right? So we
Yes,
are
sir.
going to remove these two columns. Highlight and delete, highlight and delete, because they do not have values. So we don't need those two parts. Now, remember, we we trimmed president and we made it to be in a sentence piece. Sorry, we arranged it with proper. Now, if you see we have duplicate, column B is the same as column C, but we cannot keep column B and column C together because you know go work, oh, it will not work. And then if you go to column E and column F, you see that column F and column E, they are still the same. We cannot keep the two of them. One has to go. Are you all following? Please, I want all of you to follow this step. Look at it very well. Stop. If you are talking at home, if you dey talk for home, no talk now because I want you to look at these steps. They are very important. So we want to remove one of these ones. But remember that this is the part that we edited. If you see there's a formula, the proper. If you go to B, there's nothing. So how do we remove this? If we remove, highlight B and delete it, C has gone. So it means that we cannot remove column B like that. And if you do the same thing with column E, column F will go. Can anybody tell me why that is happening like that? Esther, Sarah, can you try? You are the only lady in this class. I like that.
Ah, no, sir.
Okay. Timothy, can you try? Can you tell us why when we delete one, the other one too is also going?
Okay, sir. So from the initial start, when we had to do the changing to make the names look proper, we actually used the keyword proper. Then we linked B to E. So both of them are linked together. If you delete one, the other one will go as well.
Okay, okay. Please speak
Yes,
audible.
if you delete the, okay, sorry, it's my laptop. So can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, I say so from the initial beginning, we linked both of them using the proper, the keyword proper. So if you are to delete E is going to go as well. So if you have to delete E, F is going to go because the F is linked to E. So you can't
Okay,
delete E and use F, yeah, because they are both linked together.
okay. All right. So if you delete F, sorry, if you delete E, F will go because F is linked to E with
Yes,
the function as proper. So if we
proper,
delete
yes.
F, see, if we delete F, E will not go. Did you see it? Because F was made from E. But if you delete F, sorry, if you delete E, F will go. Now, Timothy, the right word to use is it's because F was referenced from E. Let's speak like data people. F was linked, sorry, F was referenced from E. So if you remove E, F will go. So how do we do this thing now? Because we need to take one down because we don't need duplicates. Remember, duplicate is forbidden here. So what do we do? We are going to use this step. Highlight your column F. And what do you do? Right click. Once you right click, copy. Now go back to column E and highlight that column and right click again and paste. Now if I pasting, paste as values. Do not paste as normal text. Paste as values. Now if you see, now that I've pasted as values, you can see that column E is looking exactly the same as column F. Column E, every value on column E is looking exact as column F. Now what do we do? If we delete column, we can go ahead and what? Delete column F, all the values. But you now see that column E is still remaining, isn't it? It is because we have now packed everything on column F that we used E to reference and we have pasted it. We have overwritten it. We have overwritten it on it as values. So it has taken the place permanently. So at this point, we can now delete everything on column F and also remove that column. All right. So we can
Okay,
go
so
ahead.
so I have
Yes, your
hello,
question, your
sir.
question. Yes.
Yes, so I have a question on this E and F. So the fact that F was referenced from E,
Yes.
regardless that okay on pasting, if you paste with value, if you paste as value,
Yes.
can't you delete E in this case now? Why F remains?
I want to hear the last part of your question. Why do you what?
After the pasting as value,
Yes.
why can't we delete E and F still remains? Is it still because E was referenced or F was referenced from E? Still because of that reason?
If I hear you correctly, why did I delete what? E. or
Why did
F.
you delete F and not E? Yeah.
Okay, okay, yes, we deleted F because F was just a reference from the root source. The parent source is E. So we cannot use E to overwrite F, but we can use F to overwrite E because it was reference from E. It is just like your daddy gave birth to you. So if they take your daddy away from here, you are not going to stand as F. But if your daddy stands, we can bring use F and overwrite it. That is just the model. It is the model for it. That is the best way I can explain it.
All right, sir.
Please, do I answer your? Have I answered your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
All right. So we can delete F now, and we're going to still do the same thing for column C and column B. At this point, I want somebody to help me out with this one since we did that on the first one. Who can help us with this column now using the same steps that we did?
Okay, sir. So we highlight C, the row
Okay,
C.
we highlight C, yes.
All right. Then we copy.
Okay, right click and copy, yes.
Yeah. Right. Click and copy here. Then go to B.
Go to be audible, be audible. Go to B, yes.
Okay. Go to B here. Highlight.
Highlight, yes.
Okay. So if we have to paste, we have to paste as value.
All right, right click and paste as values, not the first one, but the second one which says values
The
and
second
paste.
one.
All right, good. That's very correct. So once we paste, what are we going to do now? We're going to highlight our column C and delete it now, right?
And delete. Yes, sir.
Good. And now we're going to delete it. So we're going to delete it like that singly, or we can just highlight it and delete the whole column like that, and we're good to go. So right now we can see that our data, it is now clean. But remember, from the beginning of this thing, we had plenty blanks, we had plenty inconsistencies, but now we have been able to clean this data and it is looking very clean. So let's expand this data. I'm going to highlight everything and click alternate HOI at the same time.
HOI.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be like this. Very well fitted. So if you see this data now, you can be able to use this data for analysis and you are not going to have any single error because it is very cleared and clean. So at this point, we can say we have a very structured data. This is what a structured data looks like. Clean, free from errors and blanks and duplicates. So this is it. So if we see this, we can also go ahead and add a table to this. We can also go ahead and add a table to this. So how do we add a table? For you to add a table, you can just go ahead and click all your data, select everything and do what? Press Ctrl T on your laptop or your computer and it's going to give you this option and you click OK and you're going to, okay, large number of cells. All right. So we're just going to click Ctrl A, click to select, click your first column and hold your shift button, go to H and then click Ctrl T and give your table a heading. All right. So if you don't want to do that way, just click on your first column, hold your shift key, go to the last column and click on G, go to your home button and go on insert and click table here and it is going to still do the same thing. Okay, and you have a very well presented table data in a table. And last but not the least, save your data. So at this point, you have a very clean data for your analysis. You can analyze everything or anything you want to do with this data now because it is clean. So this is just how you can get a very clean data. So what do we do? A recap of the whole thing today that we have done is for you to understand that when you're cleaning your data should be free from blanks. Your data, you should ensure that you remove duplicates. Ensure that you remove uh, unnecessary columns. unnecessary. Huh? They don't swear for me. Oh, say man, no sabi spell this word. But no wahala.
Double
Unnecessary
N.
columns, and then what? Make sure you trim your
Three.
you make your
Yeah.
data to be proper arranged so that it can be in sentence case, and make sure you trim it. Trimming makes your data to remove all the spaces that are in between, and it makes your data to look very clean. So when you follow all these steps here, you are going to have a very clean data. Let me just give it that hash color. You are going to have a very clean data. So this is just it for today. All right.
Sir,
Yes.
you mentioned missing values earlier.
Yes. Good. Missing values. Good. Missing values.
All right.
Missing values. Now, let me quickly emphasize on that. I mentioned missing values in the first slide. So I said if your data does not have uh, incomplete values, let me insert the row here. Okay, I've made it a table already. I've made it a table. I need to undo that. All right. Let me say your data has missing values. Okay. I'm going to give it number 46 here. I'm giving it 46, and I'm giving it Sarah. Sarah is a PDP member. I'm going to spoil this data now. Let me not spoil it. Sarah is a Republican, and then let's say Terry. Okay. So if this value here is missing, and then here too is missing, but the date is complete. If the date is complete as this, you can go ahead. Let me give it more values. Let me give it more values so that it will make more sense. Let me give it more values. I'm going to change here to Timothy. I'm going to say Timothy, which is Republican. I'm going to change here to who is there again? Who is there again? All right, I'm going to change this one to Shegun, or let me say David. All right, all Republicans. So if you see at this point, these three places, there are missing values. Please, if it is less than 30% of the whole data, go ahead and clean it. No wahala, because you cannot manipulate data and put it in a data set that your stakeholders or your team lead has given you to analyze, because you're going to spoil the data. So do not just go ahead and manipulate values and put them there. Don't just manipulate it. I'm saying it from experience. All right. And don't just go and put 5 here. No, don't do that. Just go ahead and highlight the columns, the 3 of them, and delete them. So far as it is less than 20%, I said 30 is too much. Less than 10% of the whole data, go ahead and clean it, because there are no values for them. They are empty cells. So remove all the empty values or the missing data. All right, because you cannot manipulate data and give an organization. You are going to spoil their results or their findings. So go ahead and clean it or delete all of those values. Go ahead and delete it. Nobody's going to quarrel you. Okay, it is good as that. But I'm saying that in a situation that if that data is from your company and your HR has made your data entry team has made a mistake, go back and confirm from them. If they cross check and they see that okay, that data was a mistake and they have found it, they can be able to give you the values and you're going to input them. You're going to input them. Fine, that one is okay. But when there are too much and there are no values for them, please do not manipulate the data. Just go ahead and delete them. Nobody is going to come after your life, because what you are going to do and you are known for is to give accurate data. You don't go ahead and manipulate people's data as an analyst, except when there is need for you to do A and B testing. So that is just it in case of missing values. I hope that is understood. Please, any other question? Any other question? All right. So if there are no questions, please, I'm going to drop these videos for you in the group. You are going to watch them. Take your time, watch them, repeat everything I've done, do everything I've done, make sure you master it, and then take a screenshot. I want 3 screenshots. The screenshot of the first of the beginning when the data is dirty, and then at the end when you have actually finished everything and the data is clean like this. I want the screenshot. And then I want is I'm going to write it here. Let me write it down here. Or yes, I'm going to write it in the group as an assignment. Give me the first screenshot of the unstructured dirty data. Give me a screenshot uh when you are removing those columns, those duplicate columns, and then give me a final screenshot of when your data is clean. If you don't know how to screenshot your system, just press shift. I'm going to give you that shortcut. Press shift key on your system, press and hold shift, shift S. Wait, okay, it is not shift yet. Press your Windows key, Windows plus shift plus S. So when you press this, you are going to screenshot your system and send it. Do it the same way. Just go to your Google Drive, upload it as a Google Drive, and then send me the link so that I can access it. So please, after we are done with Excel, we are going to take an assessment on Excel to ensure and know that you understand what is happening before we go into Power BI. So thank you very much, and that will be the end of the class. Please, if you do not do my assignment, I'm not going to grant you entry to join the next class. That is how I do it. So you are requested to submit this assignment on Wednesday. Take your time tomorrow, watch the lessons, and then do the assignment and submit on Wednesday. Thank you very much, and do have a great time.